Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds of all ages, I am at Real Monty Allen, and I am your crypto nerd.
And I'm Lauren Wixom, and I am your crypto queen.
All right, well, welcome to another fantastic episode of the Crypto Nerd channel, and I'm here with the Crypto Nerd Queen, and together we are speaking with the team from ZestBloom. So this is a fantastic opportunity. I know that you've gotten a little bit of PR out there, but I feel like every time you come on one of these shows and get yourself out there a little bit, it's just one step closer to going live for you folks. Can you give a quick introduction maybe, and then we'll ask you some questions because everybody wants to know more.
Yeah, so my name is Jasmine Farrell. I am the CEO of ZestBloom. My experience lies in front-end development, some back-end, some Linux, and some C++. I also have 6 years in finance, and I've actually helped startup companies go public. And I'll go ahead and lean over to Ryan next.
I am Ryan. I am a software engineer. I'm the CTO here at ZestBloom. I have 14 years of experience in mostly software QA and consumer entertainment, as well as pod operations. And then
I'm a PhD candidate right now at UCLA, getting my degree in computational biology with background in image analysis and deep learning. And I do, for ZestBloom, the algorithm development and copyright protection in search.
Excellent. That is a fantastic
awesome.
feature that we haven't seen before, and we're going to touch on that because I definitely want to get a lot more about that out to the community, because there's been a lot of questionable content, we'll say, and your experience in particular adds another layer to an NFT marketplace we really haven't seen before. So fantastic. Now, if I understand correctly, so we've got East Coast, West Coast, Central Time Zone all represented here. Is that right? Evan, are you West Coast?
Yeah. I'm right now. I'm in LA.
Okay. So we are truly covered, 3-4 different time zones here today. It's fantastic. All right.
That's so cool.
So a little bit of history, maybe. I don't know. Jasmine, you want to give us a little bit of a history on how the company was founded, what gave you that spark, maybe that aha moment?
Yeah.
Go back in
what
time just a little
inspired
bit?
you?
Yeah. So, I had decided I wanted to learn programming. So Ryan actually helped support me, and I went back to school and I learned how to do Linux and C++, UI, UX design, and some JS. And we actually decided, we lived in San Francisco at the time, and we decided to move to Vermont. So we went ahead and moved out to Vermont, and I got pregnant. So I wasn't really able to utilize my skills as much as I wanted to, although I did get an internship with Lawrence Berkeley Labs when I was in San Francisco. And I did work with the supercomputers. I decided that I think it would have been a great idea to start a company. So I created a Cypher Corp, which is the developer's company. And me and my husband started working on that and started lending out our skills through Cypher Corp. And then Ryan came up with this really brilliant idea. And he said, let's go into the NFT marketplace.
I don't know. I'm not sure I'd call it brilliant, but it's definitely the right time. We had been paying attention to what was happening with the industry for a while, probably close to 10 months now, maybe coming on a year actually. About a year ago, I discovered Algorand, and I knew technology-wise that it was a really cool space to be in the blockchain industry, having solved the trilemma. And I was aware that all these cool features were coming down the pipeline, including assets and atomic transfers and smart contracts all on the layer 1 of the blockchain. And so early on this year, with my media background in digital entertainment, I wanted to get on board with NFTs, and so we began building. And back then it was just an idea. It seems a whole lot more tangible now.
Mm-hmm.
And people, including its own unique aspects to what we're trying to build.
have. So Evan joined us, and he's got his kind of backstory that really, I think, propelled ZestBloom into a whole other realm. And I'll let Evan describe that for you guys.
Yeah, I think the history there is a little funny. It was back in April or May, I think. It's really not that long ago, but they started a subreddit, and I'm very active on Reddit. So I found their subreddit when it was like 10 people or something. It's still very small on Reddit. Our Reddit reach is kind of tiny, but I just sent an email saying that I had an idea for the algorithm for the copyright protection to make sure that images, like basically near duplicate detection. And they were very interested. They thought it was a really good direction, and so they wanted to partner up and kind of make it a core part of the business model. And things got a lot more serious when we wrote. So I basically wrote all those ideas into a grant and got the ZestBloom and financials and everything on it. And we got our first Algorand grant for $85K. And that, I feel like once that happened, that kind of launched everything else. But yeah, like it was definitely something I think all three of us are a lot stronger together. Like I definitely could not have done anything without the other two legs of the triangle there, right? Like you need the business and you need the technology, and the algorithm is a big part of that. But it's at the end of the day, it's all synergistic.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing that it just came from a subreddit, email, a contact made there from a relatively small group at the time. And I mean, really at a time, I think when, NFTs on Algorand weren't necessarily, all the rage. It's really come into its own, I think, the last really only like 90 days, maybe 120 days at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. My exposure to it then was through Algo NFT Marketplace on Reddit. That was like a subreddit, and it was growing at the time, and I could see it was growing, and I tried releasing some of my own work just to like experience it, and I thought it was kind of an interesting idea. But their marketplace seemed like I don't know, the first thing I saw was their WeFunder, and so I was actually the second investor on the WeFunder. I was the biggest investor for like a month or two.
He was the second and the largest for some time.
Yeah.
So I definitely got their attention that way, but I could tell it was so much better than the listing auctions on a secondary social media platform is just so clunky, and people are still doing it with like Discord and even the subreddit is still kind of active. To me, I think the future of that, it's all going to be integrated. It's too clunky to do it any other way, I think.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, quick copyright question. So, a lot of these NFTs that I see are, versions of themselves, maybe with a different background color. So, the YBG folks, this one's got the yellow background. What if it has a yellow background and one has a blue background? Is that going to cause any issues? What's the detection mode like? How does that work?
Yeah, these are definitely good questions, because at some level it is arbitrary what things you want to make the detection algorithm invariant to, right? So like it's all about choosing things like the features of the image that are the most invariant. And it's obviously not, near duplicate detection is a much easier problem than trying to actually compare like semantic similarity, which would be like these two images both have people in it, right? Like I don't need to know it at that level in order to do duplicate detection. But a very trivial way to make it color invariant is to make it grayscale, and then it doesn't matter what the colors are. And I think color is a good example of something where just changing the color is not enough to count as an original piece. So the algorithm is invariant to color mostly. Obviously, if you're using like patterns or textures, or you're changing the color in a more significant way, then that would actually count as something original.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so what if you added music to the NFT? What would that do as far as the algorithm goes?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the algorithm works on video, images, and sound, which is really nice because it uses, like wave, like Fourier or discrete cosine transform partly. So like it doesn't matter how you present what dimension the media is in. They're all defined mathematically. So if you have the same image, one of them has a sound file, I would treat that as like a remix or like a collage. So I generally refer to this as the collage problem. And the problem exists even if you don't add another media type, right? Like let's say you have an image and another image inside of it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the first image might be unique, but the second image that you copied and pasted and overlaid on top of the first might not be. And so that's a situation where it depends on the what the original artist intended, right? So if the original artist is okay with derivative works, then a portion of the sales would probably be siphoned back to the original artist. And the way you'd calculate that, how much of it should be going to the original person is, I mean, the most straightforward way would be how much of the collage is one versus the other, right? So if in the case where it's music in pictures, it's kind of difficult. You have to make a decision there because they're totally different media types. But in the case where it's images, you could just use like the area, right, as a simple way to define what percent should go to person one and what percent should go to person two.
Okay, so I guess I assume the same thing would be if I created an NFT that was a video, maybe instead of a photo.
Yeah. If in an example like there, right, where video has a sound component to it as well,
Right.
And so if somebody just used a different video but the same sound, it's that same. We would probably have to come to a decision. It's not like is it possible to calculate it? It is at that point something arbitrary, right? Like how much of a music video how much of a video should the sound count as part of the like original concept? I'd probably do it 50-50. I would say that the video is one component, the sound is a separate component.
Okay.
And that's how that's what my intuition says would be best.
It's really tough coming up with those, those rules or guidelines kind of on the fly there. We haven't seen a lot of music NFTs really come to fruition yet. I think part of the problem has been that other platforms have a very limited size that you can upload.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan to allow for additional video or for music NFTs? Which I think
that's what I want to do.
Yeah, there's a bunch of artists already.
Yes.
I would say that our size limitation is 50 megabytes, and it's enough for like at least a minute of some really good quality video, which we've tested and it looks great. Our testing is probably a bit lacking on the audio side, strictly audio, because it gets a bit more complex with displaying audio, but also having some kind of visual content to go along with it, unless the creator went ahead and authored like an MP4 with both of those things attached. But yeah, I mean, it's just something I think we need to explore a bit more, but absolutely something we want to support.
Yeah, and I think that as time progresses, we can easily increase that file size. It's just that currently we're limiting it intentionally.
Sure.
But our goal is actually to expand upon that. But we have so many other things we're trying to aim for as well, including fractalization and incorporating the smart search engine system. So our focus currently are those two attributes.
That's cool. So what would be the best video quality you guys could provide, or what I guess you guys could allow on there? So like 1080p, is that the highest you could go? 4K?
I mean, I know for sure 1080p. 4K, obviously you get less time out of a 4K image than you get out of 1080p. So whatever, as long as you're not exceeding 50 megabytes, I think you can upload it. You probably need to do more testing at the 4K level.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to upload a 4K video and it lasted for about 25 seconds. So it's not totally impossible, but yeah, it just means that it's a shorter span.
Right.
But it's totally possible. Yeah.
I think that's okay though, because I have a background in social media and people, TikTok is a huge thing right now and people just like to swipe. They don't want to sit down and watch a 2-minute video. It's literally like you have to grab them in the first 2 seconds. So I think, video, music, NFTs, whatever, I think, if it's good quality and it's short, that's fine.
Yeah, maybe we should do a TikTok NFT system, right? So like, every 30 seconds you get to do an NFT with the...
That'd be cool.
Right now we support about 25 seconds of 4K video.
Yeah, exactly.
On 50 megabyte, on a 50 megabyte limit.
Yeah, all right. I see NFT stories in the future then.
That'd be awesome.
Right?
We do have the social aspect on our website as well. We've got like a following and a follower system, so you can follow one another and you can follow each other's activities. So the idea is definitely being implemented into our platform, and we're hoping to probably grow more of that social aspect about it.
That's awesome.
But
So
we
if you
won't.
can,
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So if you have that whole following type situation, do you have like where we can type messages, like blurbs and messages, kind of like Twitter, or is it just the whole following, kind of like a Spotify type deal where you follow the artist?
So we are going to implement a chat system so that people like collaborators can actually communicate, or maybe collectors thank one another for their work with the artists. So there'll be a communication aspect. And there's some thought about creating rooms where specific groups, for instance, like if we had the yacht club joining our platform, then they would have a specific room where they can communicate and share ideas. So the concept is there, and the idea is definitely being thought out in the future for our platform.
That's awesome.
That's great. So what if I'm a collector and I have one piece that I'm missing? Can I put like an APB out for this? Because I collect Alien Pride art and I need Alien Selfie number 5. All right, if anybody's watching this, I need Alien Selfie number 5. I mean, could I do something like that? Can I say, hey, I want this?
Not exactly how you described, but we are working on implementing an offer system. So if you could find the person who owns number 25, you can actually make an offer, and you put it forth the algos you're willing to pay for it, and the person gets notified that, hey, somebody's put an offer on something. They might not have listed it or expected to sell it, but then they'll get the notification and they can choose whether to accept or reject the offer.
Excellent. Well, I know who has it, and I'm not paying $7,800. All right. So I'm curious, what was your experience like with WeFunder, and should more projects raise money that way, or if you had it to do over again? Like, not that you want to like badmouth your supporters there, but what was your experience? But would you do it that way again?
That is a great question. We've had mixed feelings about WeFunder. There's some really positive aspects about it. I think it's great that you can have a smaller community of people invest in you, and we've definitely seen the benefits of that. We've had people from our own WeFunder manager actually invest in our platform, which is really cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, which is neat. And just to know who actually has faith in us, I think gives us confidence in what we're doing. But the downside is it does require some experience in the financial market. You do need to know how startups work. You need to know how to value yourself in the beginning. Mm-hmm. We really undervalued ourselves in the beginning, and it actually hindered us later on when we realized that we're worth more. So that can take a huge burden on you, especially since you're giving up so much equity. And Evan and Ryan could definitely speak more on this, but I think that we all share the sentiment that it could have gone a little bit better, and I think WeFunder could have probably done a little bit more to prepare us for what it means to be a startup.
Mm-hmm. So there's also this really weird, I guess, being in the blockchain industry, there's kind of a weird way in which blockchain's really hot right now, and so it also adds this other unknown element to how you can value yourself. There's a lot of money pouring into blockchain from places, so there might not be the best place to start for blockchain specific companies.
What would Evan think?
Yeah.
I think he has a...
I was just gonna say that, like, I think it was useful in a world where everybody has crypto assets. Though I don't see why WeFunder has any advantage over just posting your wallet address and selling some kind of token or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's I think there's gonna be some development in the space where people are gonna use you're correct, because WeFunder takes a 7.5% cut of of all the money that you raise. That's kind of a significant amount, right? And then also they get a lot of control because it's a centralized organization. They get a lot of control over how you raise the money, and they can set arbitrary policies. They can change their policy halfway through. And there was definitely moments where they did change their policy on us, and it did affect our valuation. And we were kind of just at their mercy, right? Because in a sense, they could have canceled everything if they found that it was significantly against their policy, right? So ideally, right, if I thought that the crypto market was mature enough, which I don't think it is quite yet, but it's getting there, right, to the point where everybody has a significant amount of money in crypto, like not just 50 million crypto holders in the US, but like 250 million, like really saturate the. Then I see a future where people are going to be buying equity via tokens, and you won't have to pay a 7.5% extortion fee to some middleman.
Right? Tell us how you really feel. Right? I haven't used WeFunder that way. I've invested a few times through WeFunder. I'm a very small investor. I got in on the WeFunder campaign towards the end there. I've used Republic, and Republic's kind of the same thing, maybe on a slightly bigger scale. I think Oculus is using them, but it's still the same thing though. WeFunder is just more like the Kickstarter version of raising capital. I think I don't know if that's a fair comparison or not, but kind of the same thing.
Yeah. I would say so.
All right.
I actually kind of have a personal question for Jasmine. What is it like working with your husband, like starting a company? Because I feel like I know quite a few couple business owners, but not in the whole technology field, especially in the whole blockchain industry. So I was just wondering what that was like for you.
Yeah.
Or for both of you.
Yeah. It applies to both of us, right? I mean, I think it's fantastic. I think you have to know what kind of relationship you have with your husband, and he has to know what kind of relationship you have with me. It matters because obviously not every couple can probably withstand working with one another and being with one another 24/7, and we definitely do have to be together. Yeah.
I'll say that work never really stops. Like even like late at night, we'll be like, shoot, we gotta do this. Like, and then we'll be on, jumping on the email to try and answer questions or do some things. But
I think we work well together. I think that if I forget something, Ryan's there to remind me, or if he forgets something, I'm there to come in and take care of it. It's a balance. We have kids, so we have to work out with taking care of the kids too, and we have different kinds of meetings. He's got a lot of engineering meetings, and I have a lot of financial meetings.
Right.
And then we have investor meetings with all three of us. So we do a really good job, I think, dividing the work and the duties, and still being really in love. I think we're very much.
That's good. That's good. No, because I think ZestBloom, it's a great idea, and that's why we're here. We want to know more about ZestBloom, but I feel like I watch interviews, and yes, we want to know about the product, but sometimes I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I want to know a little bit more about their personal lives, especially when it's a power couple.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's just what
it's definitely our goal. Yeah.
That is a
couple goals.
Yeah. I mean, I think it helps that I really do believe that it helps that we're very much in love with each other. And I think we can honestly say that it makes us support one another, and we complement each other because of it. So
that's great. I love that.
I think that, I don't know, if you do this consciously or not, but one of the things that drew me to your platform was the messaging and the, even just the interface, the platform, the appearance, I don't know if it's just, an extra level of care, but even, that like you've delayed opening a few times, and you've sent me messages like, hey, we feel terrible about this. And I can tell you feel terrible about this, and I can tell like you have a passion, So, not just for each other and what you're doing, but like for the community as well. Like you just seem genuine. And in business and cryptocurrency, I do a lot of these interviews, and it is very easy for me to tell, okay, this person is in it just for the money grab. And I could tell pretty quickly, okay, this is just a smash and grab type of they're going to sell some coins and they may or may not follow through with the project, and your project seems like it's here for the long term. And the way that you're putting in, it seems like it's just at another level. And the messaging that I get from you, about the projects that you want to support and why, that's part of the reason Lauren and I chose your platform as our NFT launch, right? So we're holding on to our launch to save for you, because we want to be part of that. Because I think that your platform is the right way to launch a product that means more than just, something that's, fun is good, but fun and also does something better for the community in whole, and maybe even for the whole planet. So I appreciate that that comes through in your work quite a bit. And as an interview,
that is a beautiful gesture. You are too generous.
Yeah, we're definitely doesn't feel good to be later than we were hoping to be building the thing. There's been a lot of technical hurdles. There's been a lot of hurdles in our personal lives that we've had to overcome, and some issues that we're still dealing with ongoing. But I must say that Jazz has put her heart and soul into the visual aspect of it, and I think it really comes through. It's really beautiful, attractive design for a site. And I'm like pouring over the engineering. My background's been largely in quality assurance, so I am a bit of a perfectionist, and if like any one little thing is out of whack in some way, I'm really unsatisfied, and I have to go back and fix it a million times over. So
he's also really concerned about security, so he takes the extra precautions to make sure that it's completely secure. He doesn't want anything to happen to your assets or to the money being exchanged, and he takes the extra, he takes the extra hour, the extra day, or the extra week to make sure that all the containers are done correctly, everything is labeled correctly, that we have all our developers working on the security of the website. So to him, it's he would rather make sure the site is secure and safe, and everybody has what they need in exchange than risk, anybody's assets disappearing. So that is really important. Yeah, and we're willing to delay that. We're, like you said, we're not really necessarily here for the money, and I think the environment's really important to both of us. And Evan, I know we feel like for the long haul, NFTs are here to stay, but we are really concerned about our future and the future of every individual that's here on this planet. And we think that this technology is here to stay, but we think that you could do it well without making sacrifices.
Right.
So yeah.
No, I love that. I love the whole quality over quantity thing. That's what I live by.
Had the two of you thought about just the value of the NFTs that will be stored on your site and offered, and the amount that will be in escrow at any given point in time? Like, you may very well, if this blows up and if usage goes much higher, you may hold more in value than some small banks, essentially, right?
Yeah, no, right. And I think it's give over time.
Yeah, that's why you're so concerned about security.
We believe that. Yeah, we believe that this is a big. Oh my God. We believe that this is a big deal, and
he's excited.
He believes in you too. Yeah.
Throw it out there, not worry about anything, just do an exchange. But you have to take the extra steps to make sure it's secure, because you are dealing with a lot of assets and you are dealing with a lot of money. And these are people's livelihoods. People rely on this income. People are relying on these transactions. So to just say, I'm going to make an NFT marketplace, I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm not going to worry about the implications that may happen in the future is the wrong way to do it. And so, yeah, it really does weigh on us. And like you said, we do feel like it might blow up. And there is an aspect behind that we are seriously considering. And we are taking extra steps in other ways too. We're trying to incorporate credit and debit transaction and ACH systems So we are
Really
working with companies like Circle. Circle will be using their API to create a debit credit transaction and ACH system to pay out the artists.
Okay.
And then we're also looking into, I know people don't like hearing this, but taxation. We're looking into taxes, sales tax, especially people in the United States. We want to make sure that their taxes will be taken care of when they do the exchange. I know people don't want to talk about that subject, but I think it's important. I think that we know regulation's coming, and we know that NFTs will be regulated. So it's really important that we take that seriously and we consider what measures we need to take to ensure that the sales tax is paid properly through NFTs. So
I think that being proactive on that is the right move.
Yeah.
The tax man coming. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's better to overpay than underpay, right? If you overpay, then they'll give you back your money. But if you underpay, then you're going to be, in a loss at the end of the year. We don't want anyone to feel like they went and sold this NFT and now they have implications of making taxation payments that they can't afford later on. Because honestly, we know artists don't make that much money. So we're hoping to change that.
Not currently.
Not currently. We're working on that. We're wanting it to be different in the future.
Right. Do you have any charities that both of you wish to contribute to? Maybe not, like you can't do it now, but maybe in the future. Like, do you have a charity wish list?
I think we're going to start off by apportioning some of our proceeds to the World Wildlife Foundation.
And
yes.
Legacy. Yeah.
Through Project Arc,
awesome.
Yeah, Evan could actually probably tell you more about that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean so the Project Arc collaboration originally was supposed to be for the month of October, but we're gonna push it back whenever it makes sense. The overall goal is really a nice goal, I think, trying to so they have a pool of artists, and they're producing some specific unique content that they're providing. And then also we were going to make it so that artists on our platform can opt in and don't voluntarily donate some of the proceeds of their own. It'll automatically be calculated all with our smart contracts and everything. But so they'll just set royalties at the very beginning, how much they want to go to Project Arc and their conservation efforts. So they have animal conservation efforts through the WWF, like Ryan mentioned, and then they also have other environmental conservation efforts, like focused on actually trees and things like that. And so we think those conservation efforts are absolutely essential and critical, and it just goes so well with Algorand's mission statement of being green blockchain. And it's really nice to see people like Algoana and other groups planting trees as well. So I think that's something that Algorand community has kind of flocked towards, and everybody wants to give back in some way, and I really love that. I love that everybody is trying to find a way to give back somehow, and we'll do our part as well.
Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
awesome.
Can somebody set up, or do you think that eventually we will have charities that just have a wallet address, and somebody can set up, a certain percentage of royalties to go towards a charity? Is that in the future at some point?
Yeah. I mean, ideally they would have their address and everybody will have a crypto presence. But as it is right now, there are intermediaries and people who will facilitate that for the charities themselves, right? So like Project Arc is an example. I don't know if WWF has an Algorand wallet, but Project Arc will take the money that we generate and use it to donate to the WWF. So right now it seems like there's still some barrier there. As soon as charities have the resources or the motivation, I think it would streamline the process.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I could add to that just by saying that it would be a small modification on the smart contracts we have now to put in a line item for a charity. We have a smart contract that allows for splitting payouts. And it would be pretty easy. You could put a creator's payout. The creator could choose to use this particular contract, and they could just add the charity, to it along with their wallet, and then set the weighted difference, to whatever they want, so they could split that royalty payout.
Yeah, and our ACH the wire transfer, ACH, and credit debit options that we're getting through Circle are going to make it really, really easy for people to onboard into crypto, right? Like part of our mission is to get people into crypto who weren't already, right? Like there's a lot of crypto enthusiasts, right? 50 million in the US already, but a lot of organizations, institutions have stayed out of it, and showing them the revenue that we're generating for them via crypto, right? Even though we're giving them a free on-ramp by converting it back into fiat. Like they don't have to do any of the work in order to receive the benefit, but if it actually is producing benefit, they'll pay attention and they'll realize that they can do this more directly. So that's really the goal here, is to try to get, and charities are a great set of institutions to get on blockchain too, right? So like every area of the market needs an on-ramp, and charities need an on-ramp, individuals need an on-ramp, and so we think that Circle cooperation is going to be so essential for just getting all of these institutions, and what better way than giving them free money,
Right? Yeah, they love that. It's a good opportunity for a shameless plug. So Lauren and I have combined forces and partnered with Climate Trade, and not only do we love the ZestBloom message, but we also love that wallet separation, Ryan, that you were mentioning earlier. So Climate Trade is based out in Spain, and they work by you can purchase climate credits, and they go to specific projects. It's a great situation where it's a company that just happens to be associated with Algorand already. So it was very simple for us to say, hey, share your Algorand wallet. You can plug it in there. You don't have to worry about custody or anything like that, and funds would go directly there. But not every company is like that, where they're familiar enough to have an Algorand wallet already. We just got lucky because there's a couple of companies like that already in our ecosystem because of who Algorand is and who leads them right now. But when you look at platforms like yours that could incorporate more and more social action, I guess we'll call it, not just one particular agency, but many. Do you think like you're going to get inundated with these types of transactions? Do you think this is going to be kind of the norm? Because it seems like a couple of the premier projects that are already migrating to your site are may have some of that aspect to them already. Are you looking for that?
I think absolutely. I mean, we want to do as much good as we can. I think one of the cool things about blockchain in general is the level of traceability that you can build into it, and all these different charitable organizations having their own wallet would be, a fantastic end goal. But anybody in the meantime who's putting in the work to make sure money ends up in the hands of people who are doing good, we really want to continue to support that in any way we can.
100%.
Yeah, and I also just want to add to that, right? That that traceability is so valuable too, especially because the concept of giving money to efficacious charities, right? I think charities need a report card too, right? Like they need to be able to see how well they're doing compared to other charities, and the how good a charity is as a large variance, right? Like you want your dollars to be maximally applied, right? You want it to have the most benefit possible, and giving charities themselves and everybody a way to look at what charities are, how they're spending their money, how they're using it. Getting them on crypto is going to be a really transparent way, and charities can advertise, right? Like, look, you can see our transaction record. We never spend on anything but what we say we will.
Right.
So this is a great way to do that.
Yeah. And to be clear, I guess Climate Trade isn't technically a charity, but they offer some great service where you can buy carbon credits, and in essence, some of their projects are funded that way, which is fantastic. I can definitely applaud the fact that they are making money in a way that contributes to the well-being of the environment.
Yeah, they've done the miraculous thing of aligning their profit incentive with the collective well-being.
Right?
How difficult is that? But they've done it, and hopefully we can do it too.
Yeah.
In the sector.
And we covered a lot of good stuff. So not to put you on the spot, but when do you think is an estimated date where things will go live? I know you said, in some of our communication, testnet by a week away, something along those lines. How long do you want to be in testnet? And let's just assume it goes well. Let's just assume, it doesn't go haywire. let's say best case scenario, what are we looking at? And then let's talk about worst case scenario too. Maybe we should have a window.
Yeah, a window's a good idea. I think we're going to be looking. We're going to be looking to get testnet into people's hands in the very near term. Auction contracts are written and tested and working, but we're still implementing it into the application itself. So that auction functionality is not available on the testnet. It's only minting and then simple offer and sales by escrow for the moment. But the auction is definitely our next highest priority thing. And then once we have auctions working and tested, is at the point where I feel comfortable going live. Because I think without auctions, it's not going to be, it's not going to be worth anybody's while.
There's auctions definitely make it worthwhile.
Price discoverability aspect of it is really valuable to both the collectors and the artists.
Mm-hmm. So that's my thing.
Gosh, I feel like we can have it implemented in 2 weeks, but not tested fully for another week. So 2 to 3 weeks fully, before we can fully go live. But testnet, I think we get people working on testnet in the near term.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
We sent you a testnet link, right? And you worked on that.
You did. I just wasn't going to talk about it publicly. but I've seen it. I've tested. I poked around. Great visuals. The interface is fantastic. You have categories, so I can see what's coming. And I envision it almost like I'm at a museum. And there's a whole hall for music. There's a whole hall for video. There's a whole hall for static images. There's a whole hall for various aspects. Is how I was envisioning it in my mind. Or maybe like a wheel, and it was a hub, and I could go to these different hubs. It was beautiful. So it looks fantastic. I haven't gotten to the point where I've minted anything yet there, but the interface, the appearance is top notch.
Yeah, that's great. We are going to, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get our featured artists actually probably on testnet, get them used to the system, have them maybe mint some false images just to get an idea of what the process will be like for them. We'll probably be doing that very, very soon. I would say in the next week. It's just about ready, honestly. And Ryan, perfectionist as he is, he anxiously wants to put the auctions.
Also, and ARC3, they just finalized the ARC3 spec today, and we've been doing testnet the old style of putting the content URL onto the asset, and I really want to switch the rails and get everything up to the ARC3 standard. It's a high priority of mine, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, to the layperson, they may not know the difference. Not initially, right? But
no, but it adds a lot of richness that you store, and I think that adds a lot of value in the long term because you can do more stuff with access to rich metadata. It just opens up doors to doing more complex applications.
Yeah, I think for us, that actually might, I don't know how this would play out, this may be off topic, but Climate Trade had asked us, hey, can we plug in or verify if they purchase this NFT, how many carbon credits were offset? And I said, I have no idea how you would do that because I'm not a technical, I have no idea because it would change, I think, based on the auction value, how many credits you got. And I was like, I don't know how you would, or they asked if you could issue a piggyback NFT. And I was like, well, that's a great idea. How would you issue a piggyback NFT of the carbon credit certificate? And they'll have the data of the wallets, but they have to add the the ASA ID in order to receive that piggyback NFT.
It sounds possible. It sounds feasible. I mean, there could be two ways of doing it. It sounds like you could do a piggyback NFT where you end up with two distinct NFTs. Or you could do it with one NFT, which has an enriched metadata set that includes the offset. Unless the offset number is calculated at some point during the sale, in which case the NFT needs to be created before you could put create the certificate. There's a bit of a chicken and egg problem.
Yeah. All right, we'll geek out on that later.
There's an application right there.
So Evan, in your work with a lot of the copyright protection, it really seems that part of ZestBloom's mission is to protect the community, and in some cases almost protect the community from itself. And this is something I can get behind because I personally, many years ago, in the ICO, burst, I was scammed out of a sizable amount myself, and I consider myself to be relatively, smart and up to date in the community. So what steps have you taken to, and how important is it for ZestBloom to look out for the Algorand community?
Yeah, so part of the reason why we've delayed the launch is to make sure that the community gets a secure product and to make sure we've thought of all of the solutions. And also it's clear that there's an environment right now where a lot of very large private companies are trying to make a blockchain presence, like Coinbase and OpenSea is emerging. And in an environment right now where OpenSea gets charged with insider trading, we just don't see that force as being positive for the community. So we've especially because of how centralized it is. So we've made a significant effort to put everything on chain. So our proof of originality is an on-chain thing that people can verify, and the algorithm itself is simple enough that it could be run locally on a computer, so you can verify it to make sure that there's that nobody's messing around, right? That it's true, exactly correct. Whereas other companies, right, like DeviantArt, for instance, they have a solution for trying to verify authenticity, like it via looking at the image and calculating image similarity. But they use an AI and on a private server. Nothing about it is on chain or reproducible. You don't get access to their algorithm. You don't get access to their AI, so you can't verify if independently if they've tampered with the calculation in order to favor the people who are paying for their subscription, right? Like they have a huge incentive to be kind of over cautious at the expense of innovators or people who are actually creating unique content. Or an example with OpenSea, like, so it does not just apply to the copyright protection, but also to the smart search that we mentioned, right? So OpenSea has complete ownership over their index for the search engine, and so they are able to tamper with it, and they're able to get information before it's on chain for everybody to see, right? For instance, in the example with insider trading, they had advanced knowledge of a drop and were able to buy and sell appropriately, right, in order to make money ahead of everybody else. But our index is going to be completely on chain, so people will be able to see the metadata that's there, and as soon as we know about it, it'll be there. It'll be on chain, so it'll be
full transparency.
Everybody, yeah, it's completely transparent. We're not keeping a private database of images to train our private algorithm. We're not keeping a private index of NFT drops. So we're really trying to solve those aspects for the community's benefit.
Wonderful.
Very good.